The Bible is a fascinating book which demonstrates God's divine mission and purpose for the world. Despite this fact, many doubters remain skeptical of the authenticity of its contents. But what most of these people fail to realize is the fact that the Bible contains countless prophecies in the Old Testament that were later fulfilled in the New Testament. In this video, we will delve into some of these prophetic fulfillments found in the Bible, with a specific focus on the life of Jesus. Prepare to be intrigued as we unveil 8 Old Testament prophecies that were remarkably fulfilled by Jesus in the New Testament, solidifying his divine mission and purpose. Our first prophecy takes us to the book of Isaiah. The specific verse is in Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14, which mentions God will give a sign that will include a virgin conceiving and bearing a son named Emmanuel. This prophecy finds its fulfillment in the birth of Jesus by the Virgin Mary, as documented in the New Testament Gospel of Matthew chapter 1 verse 23. Moving forward, we encounter the prophecy from the book of Micah chapter 5 verse 2 that foretells the Messiah's birth in Bethlehem. Centuries later, Jesus was indeed born in Bethlehem, as confirmed in the New Testament Gospel of Matthew chapter 2 verse 1. Next, we explore the Old Testament prophecy of Zechariah chapter 9 verse 9, which spoke of Jesus' entry into Jerusalem on a donkey. The prophecy became a reality when Jesus triumphantly entered Jerusalem on a donkey, as described in the New Testament Gospel of Matthew chapter 21, verse 5. Two of the most amazing prophecies regarding Jesus are ones found essentially back-to-back in the book of Psalm. The first is in chapter 22, verse 16, which insinuates a sinister crucifixion through the piercing of hands and feet. The Gospel of John chapter 20 verse 25 explicitly confirms the fulfillment of this prophecy, as these were the wounds that were inflicted on Jesus during his crucifixion. The previous prophecy may seem to be a bit of a stretch at first glance, until you read just 2 more verses ahead in the Bible. Psalm chapter 22 verse 18 references a group of individuals dividing garments among themselves and casting lots for clothing. The New Testament book of John chapter 19 verse 23 describes this exact action from Roman soldiers during Jesus' crucifixion, as they divided his garments and split them among themselves. When coupling this prophecy with the previous one, it now becomes clear that Jesus' future crucifixion was being referenced in these Old Testament verses. Isaiah's prophecy in chapter 53 verses 4 through 5 describes the suffering and atoning work of a messianic figure. The New Testament Gospel of Matthew chapter 8 verse 15 explicitly connects Jesus' healing ministry with the fulfillment of this prophecy, stating that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, "Himself took our infirmities and bare our sicknesses." Moving on, we encounter a remarkably accurate prophecy from the book of Zechariah chapter 11 verses 12 through 13, which foretold the betrayal of the Messiah for 30 pieces of silver. Judas' betrayal of Jesus in the New Testament was for this exact amount specified in these Old Testament verses, and fulfilled the prophecy in Matthew chapter 26, verses 14 through 16. Lastly, we explore the prophecy from Psalm chapter 16 verse 10, which declares that the Holy One of God would not see decay. In the New Testament book of Matthew chapter 28 verses 5 through 6, an angel proclaims the astonishing news to the women at Jesus' tomb, saying, "He is not here, he is risen, just as he said." The resurrection of Jesus is the cornerstone of the Christian faith, demonstrating God's power over death and validating Jesus' claim as the Son of God. Now that we have reviewed these prophecies about Jesus, I could see you asking yourself at this point, how can we be so sure that these prophecies were not fabricated or manipulated by the writers of the Bible after the life of Jesus to fit preferred narratives? This is an understandable question, and the answer to it lies within the recent discovery of ancient writings, referred to as the Dead Sea Scrolls. These ancient Jewish texts, most dating before the birth of Jesus, were found in the mid-20th century and provide unparalleled insights into the religious and cultural backdrop of the ancient world. Remarkably, fragments of the Old Testament books containing the prophecies previously discussed were discovered within these scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls are attributed to the Essenes, a devout Jewish sect that lived during the Second Temple period between approximately 530 BC and 70 AD. They adhered strictly to Jewish law and were believed to have resided near the Dead Sea, specifically in a settlement now known as Qumran, where the scrolls were written. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls unfolded in the late 1940s and early 1950s. It began with a young Bedouin shepherd accidentally stumbling upon the first set of scrolls in a cave near Qumran. Recognizing their significance, the scrolls were sold and acquired by various collectors, sparking a series of archaeological excavations that led to the discovery of additional scroll fragments in nearby caves. Scholarly analysis and carbon dating techniques have conclusively placed the writing of the Dead Sea Scrolls before the birth of Jesus. These ancient manuscripts containing prophecies and themes that align with the life, teachings, and fulfillment of Jesus' ministry therefore offer an extraordinary piece of evidence. They demonstrate that the prophecies recorded in the Bible were not manipulated or concocted after Jesus' resurrection, but rather were written and preserved independently, validating their authenticity and fulfillment through Jesus' life. So in conclusion, Jesus' life, death, and resurrection prove his divine nature by fulfilling these 8 Old Testament prophecies. In confirming their existence before the birth of Jesus and providing crucial proof for their legitimacy, the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls adds a fundamental historic dimension to these predictions. I pray that this video has contributed to your growing understanding of the greatness of Jesus Christ, and until next time, may God bless you all.